Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 10 American Destroyer, Gearing. She has 19,400 health, a top speed of 37.8 knots, 6 127mm guns, 10 torpedoes, a surface detect of 5.9 kilometers, and 52 AA defense rating. For my modules, reduced crit chance on main armament, improved aiming accuracy, improved torpedo rearm, lower chance of flood and fire, improved acceleration, concealment. For my commander, basic firing training, faster torpedo rearm again, last stand, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment again. We are on the map Islands of Ice, and this is an older replay, but it's okay. Yes, it has advanced firing training. I would probably, if you had to hold me down, I would probably use Survivability Expert over advanced firing training, and you might see why in this game, but we gotta get to that first. Now, I'm moving out. We see that there's an enemy capturing B. I don't need radio position to inform me that there is probably a destroyer or 2 or 3 trying to capture this location. We see an enemy cruiser, and he fires his guns. Probably not what you want to do if you're in the center area. In fact, I'm pretty safe in saying that that is probably the last thing you ever want to do in a cruiser with so many battleships capable of killing you. But he does have smoke, so he decides to use it. I decide to send my torpedoes towards the possibility because he's going to come to a complete stop. It's not going to be as abrupt as a destroyer, but it's going to be abrupt. And I was detected. The enemy Shimakaze has the best concealment. Well, better than me. So I decide, yeah, you know what? It is overextension, but if we can take this guy out, it's worth damage on my ship. Then we see another, hey, an enemy cruiser in the background. Bring all the cruisers to the center. That's going to work out really good for you guys. Yeah, those torpedoes. Yeah, and whenever you see me zoom in, I'm trying to get to the torpedoes, and oh, right smack in the center. He's going to get 1, 2, 3. We take him out. Absolutely the worst case scenario for the enemy. And, yeah. That is why, as a cruiser, you don't go aggressive for B point. Because the torpedoes are going to be sent in an effort to move off the enemy destroyers. And if you are so unlucky to go directly in their path, I did not aim for that particular cruiser. I actually was aiming for the enemy Kutuzov, yeah. I was thinking, what's the ship name? I need to know. And it just so happens that he was right in the way. I did one at the smoke, and then I sent one assuming he would continue moving forward. And the one moving forward actually worked out on the enemy Takao. I know. So there's multiple enemy destroyers, there's multiple enemy cruisers. I don't want to move too close, of course. And I'm going to remain. And this is sort of German, honestly. Send the torpedoes, fire your guns only when you think it's worth the effort or worth risking the ship. I send my torpedoes against the enemy Arpeggio Takao, hoping that he'll go north and try and break through that gap. If he's so aggressive or so bold as to not pull back, he's going to take a torpedo or 2 or 3 and die. And we know it's 3, right? So, yes, the enemy cruiser is dead to the Iowa. Kutuzov, big surprise there. The other enemy cruiser that I sent my torpedoes at, because he was obviously going through the gap, he's not going to be too hot. He's going to have to deal with it. So, knowing that he could potentially be distracted by me firing my guns, I wanted to sort of fire in front of him and make him ignore the threat that was imminent, and of course he takes the torpedo. We don't kill him because we need 3. You know, this is sort of like Sesame Street. How many torpedoes does it take to take out an Arpeggio Takao? Because we're going to get 2 people who have made the same mistake. They probably don't talk to each other. They probably have never met in their life, but they both did the most obvious play, and they got punished for it. And he's dead. It takes 3 torpedoes, by the way. 2 is just not enough. And thankfully, I was able to hide in the smoke and not take too much damage. That is one risk with advanced firing training is that I don't have the health pool that I would with survivability expert. But if nobody fires on me or I'm in smoke, who cares? So the enemy has sent torpedoes. That was one of the enemy destroyers that is unspotted. They might be in the smoke. Now, if they're in the smoke, I'm going to overwhelm them. I am made to kill destroyers at close proximity. I love the U.S. destroyers. The Soviets, of course, are very effective at it, but they can do it at range too. They've just got that broken mechanic. Well, it's not broken, but they sacrifice their torpedo systems and concealment while firing in order to be extremely aggressive at range. So I'm going to try and send my torpedoes towards the Iowa. I'm still shadowing the enemy destroyer that I thought was in the area. I don't think I need the destroyers to be effective, or I don't think I need the torpedoes against the destroyers to be effective. I've got the guns. And so far we don't see them. The Iowa is probably not going to get hit by my torpedoes. So what I instead decide to do, and maybe I decided to do it a little too late, to come to a complete stop, go in the smoke, and fire my guns. Unfortunately, I'm outside the smoke, so I'm going to get moving. It was a mistake. It was a clear mistake. But let's face it, there are 1,000 things you can change in any given game. Now I'm using the right ammo, and we're broadside on an Iowa. Got the best seat in the house to flanking fire this guy. I miss out on the kill, but who cares about that when I could get a kill on an enemy Kagedo? Now this Kagedo is the older one. I believe it's a tier 9. Remember, this is an old replay, but it's a fun replay, so I'm just going to overwhelm him. And we're trying to hit the forward part of the ship. Not enough on that salvo. Is this enough? Yes, it is. Enemy Kagedo taken out. And we've pulled off. He's not going to send torpedoes that hit us. It's a very safe take as well on B point. I will probably run into the friendly. And here are torpedoes behind us. Oh my, this is bad. This is really bad. Just fit myself right in there. Oh, I'm sorry. Akizuki, sorry. Actually, I think that is a tier 8 Kagedo. I think it's a tier 8. You know what? I don't know what is telling me that it's a tier 8 Kagedo. I can't quite put my finger on it. The friendly, of course. Akizuki should not be in this game if it was before that patch. So the enemy has taken A. That's okay. I have assisted in the destruction of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 ships in the first 9 minutes of the game. And we're going to try and do a little bit more. Yes. Yes. The Akizuki is not the most maneuverable ship in the game. It's probably the slowest rudder command of any destroyer I've ever seen. Its gun systems are supreme, though. And I do have smoke, so I can afford to be a little aggressive with him. And I'm just looking around. Ooh, enemy Fletcher. The enemy Fletcher is very low. And I don't know where those torpedoes... Maybe they're going for the Zao. Are we going to get that? No. No. Friendly gets the kill. Good for the friendly. Honestly, very good for the friendly. But there's smoke out there, and it looks like someone is firing from the smoke. So I'm going to send my torpedoes along with the Akizuki and just flood it with torpedoes. How are they going to miss everything, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? My torpedoes are on cooldown and I can get them back up real soon? I mean, come on, it's not a big deal. Ooh, there he is. He is detected. Enemy Torps. Oh, he's gonna die to the friendly. The friendly's killed him. Yep. Oh no, Kurosakua first. He sits his little shots in there and he takes it. I'm always rooting for my destroyers, okay? I feel like they are my brethren. And what did my... No, Poison's still alive. Oh, he's right next to me. I was like, where is his icon? So there's an enemy battleship just to the north of this island. My torpedoes will not be up when I need them. So maybe this is the worst part about it, right? But I do have smoke. There's that. And I've got teammates. I got backup. So I'm just waiting. And my A is on. That is a mistake, but it's not really a big deal. If I take it out, then I deny line of sight for the guy, and that's the best thing, right? And he's sort of aware. I am somewhat behind the island, and probably should have used my smoke a little bit early. A little bit earlier. But we only take a little bit of secondaries. Enemy Kagero shows up, and I would love to kill him. The U.S. destroyers are... We are hunters. We are predators. We're sharks, great white sharks, you know. Alien. It is brutal how much damage we can put out. We lack some utility. Obviously, we don't have hydroacoustic that the Germans do. I can't just fire from range and expect to hit the target like the Soviet destroyers can do. But the whole package is just, it sits right where it needs to. I fully expect that some aspects will be adjusted, nerfed, but that's okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, I can give up a little bit of power and still really, really excel. So the enemy Minotaur, and oh, you didn't say it right. It's Minotaur. It's Minotaur to the Brits. I like to pretend, and yes, story time with Notser. I like to pretend that I am a captain or a sailor on one of these ships whenever I'm in it. So for me, I'm a U.S. sailor participating in the gearing, and whenever it would have served, I believe the gearing didn't exist, right? I know the Fletcher did. Was the gearing a paper ship, or was it after post-World War II? Something like that. Something like that. But that's just the way I envision myself. So when I say Minotaur, that's what the Brits say. That's a British ship. I know. It's a mythological creature from blah, and they do the... I know, I get it. Now, I come around the island, and I show too much side. I actually do the worst thing ever. I also sent my torpedoes, assuming he would stop. Clearly he's not, so the torpedoes are just barely too far behind. But as a destroyer, you don't want to show your bow or your stern to a great big battleship. And the reason you don't want to do that is because that great big battleship can get the shell to stick in the ship. And oh, this is bad, yeah. Guy just played it better than me. What I needed to do is I needed to try and rotate around the ship. If it's in a scenario similar to this, I can't run away. I need to make his guns traverse, especially the Yamato. The Yamato has terrible, terrible guns for traverse. The best play there would have probably been to go directly at the target and to try and force him to keep up with me, since I was so close to him. Now, if I was right on the edge of concealment, then of course back up. But when he's that close and he was pushing into me, there was no escape. And I let my team down. I could have easily done a better job in that scenario. I've got like an automatic checklist that I do. It doesn't really matter how many enemy ships there are, and I should consider the number of ships and the number of ships in the area and highlight that fact and use that to my advantage more often. I always go with the idea that there's always someone else to kill. Always someone else to kill. No matter if there's 3 on this game or 100 in the next game, that's sort of the play style that I try to do. And of course, that's the wrong way to play in many respects, because there are only 3 targets left. And now there's only 2. And Iowa did a good job getting damage, citadels, into the enemy Yamato. I think the Yamato missed the waterline just barely. Just barely. And that was an issue, clearly, because he couldn't kill him. And the Iowa did. So now we've got an enemy cruiser, enemy Zhao, that has been hiding in the northern sector of the map. We've got multiple friendly battleships that could easily wipe them out. And this North Carolina apparently is going towards him. And I'm hoping that he get a nice broad citadel to take the guy out. Although he is naked. Ah, you guys. Why do you have your naked ships? I know they look good naked. They're not the only thing. But you're missing out on all those free stats. XP. Free XP. Commander XP. 4% chance for the target to disperse a little wider. 3% camo. That's not insignificant. You gotta do it. Or you should do it. Now, he kind of missed the Zao. The Zao did a good job of dodging. He sets the target on fire. Immediately, the North Carolina puts it out. Okay. Well, the Zao is probably going to get another shot before he goes behind the island. Although, who the hell was he firing at? Maybe he felt like the island was too close and he was never going to drop the shell. I don't know. I was trying to see, and look, someone is capturing me. Oh, where'd they go? This arpeggio is very low. Takao, he needs some support. He might die. He's somewhere in this area. We know he's somewhere. He's probably just south of that particular cruiser's location. And he's heading over to Sea Point. The enemy Zao is he's just circling behind the islands, trying to use them to his advantage. And I understand that. Ooh, that friendly cruiser took a torpedo. Ah, you can't let that happen. You know he's in the area. You just gotta play it right. What the? Did some battleship fire? I don't know. Friendly Akizuki denies himself line of sight. He probably got too close. Ooh, he's gonna turn right into the torpedoes. There's no way he's gonna completely avoid this. 1 torpedo, 2 torpedo. Ooh, nice. Good job, Akizuki. I don't know. I think the Zao was... We saw how the Zao was playing. He wanted to hide behind that island. So you could infer that he's going to make sure that he's always behind the island. Turn left versus right. And maybe that's what the Akizuki felt like he was going to do. Either way, he did a great job. He almost killed himself, but he did a good job. Either way, he did a good job. So we have the Grossakua Fürst, and he's hunting. He's hunting for a destroyer, and it's not going to be very easy because he's a mountain, and it's not hard to spot a mountain, right? If the destroyer is competent, he will not be found before the end of the match. He will just stay hidden, and we'll just win on capture. But that's okay. The team did a good job. I should have played the Yamato differently. Don't try and line up and yeah, okay, so the enemy destroyer is somewhere on the western side of B point. And the game's gonna end. But I should have aggressively pushed towards the Yamato, I think. Tried to make his guns traverse to keep up with me. And don't try to let the shell stick in the ship. That's just gonna kill you so quickly. So we got Confederate, First Blood, Devastating Strike, 2,721 base XP. Friendly Atago did 2,396. He did a great job too. I should have complimented him. We did 66,000 in main batteries, 65,000 in torpedoes, and 16,000 in dots, fires, and floods. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.